Welcome to the Year of the Movie podcast, the podcast where we talk about movies from the year of the movie 2023. We're your hosts. It's been a bit. We took March off, but hopefully now there's a backlog.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's more consistent.
Yeah.
We needed time.
Yeah.
We started this podcast so long ago now.
Yeah.
More than a year at this point.
Yeah.
Talking about just movies from 2023. Because 2023 was a weird and goofy, interesting year for movies. 80 for Brady. 65. Strays. Oppenheimer. The Holdovers. Barbie. George Foreman and the George Foreman Grill franchise, George Foreman.
And also Strikes or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating year for movies.
Yeah.
And that's why we're talking about them. If you like this podcast, please consider supporting us on Patreon, reviewing, rating wherever you listen to your podcast, following on Instagram, subscribing on YouTube, ringing that bell, liking our content, sharing our content. But you can also, for $5 a month, support us on Patreon. There's some bonus material that you get. There will be more one day.
And if that's not incentive enough, I don't know what is.
I mean, there could be more bonus material the more we get paid.
True.
So,
Think about that. It's an investment.
you're going to write it off in your taxes.
Ooh.
Because it's an investment.
True.
What are we talking about today?
We are talking about the fact that you are so not invited to My Bat Mitzvah.
I would hope that I'm not, because it'd be weird if you had one.
I'm kind of out of the age range.
But what movie are we talking
I'm
about?
not Jewish. We are talking about the Adam Sandler produced, starring-ish movie. You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah on Netflix.
Yep.
The synopsis is, Stacy and Lydia are BFFs who have always dreamed about having epic bat mitzvahs. However, things start to go comically awry when a popular boy and middle school drama threatens their friendship and their rite of passage. What were your first impressions when you heard about this movie?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I knew that it was Adam Sandler's real daughter. And so I figured it was just a movie for her.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, neat. What were your first impressions?
I think kind of more in the line of like, oh, okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a fan of the long movie title if it's done well, and I feel like this does it well in terms of like setting the vibe for the rest of the movie. Yeah, it seems fun. I don't know if I would have gone out of the way to watch it if we didn't have this podcast.
No.
Yeah.
We're not the target audience.
We're not, but you do like coming of age stories.
I do.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, so the trailer of this movie, it's pretty straightforward. It focuses on the conflict between the best friends and how important the bat mitzvah is, but like kind of like not so much for like the Jewish culture, more of like it's going to improve her social standing in middle school if she has a really cool party. And then it highlights a lot of the main cast members, and it includes the phrase "growing up is no party," and it's, you know, pretty solid overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I watched the trailer at some point.
I'm sure I did at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of like you hear the title, you see some images of it. That's enough to get a good idea of what this movie is. Should we talk about the cast?
Yeah. As we said, Adam Sandler is in it. He plays Danny Friedman. Idina Menzel plays his wife, Bree Friedman. Sonny Sandler is his daughter and plays his daughter, Stacy Friedman. Did I say Sonny?
Yes.
Okay. And then Sadie Sandler plays his other daughter, Ronnie Friedman. So both of his daughters are in this.
Yeah.
As his daughters. Samantha Lorraine as Lydia Rodriguez Katz. Jackie Sandler, his wife,
from real life.
In real life, plays a neighbor wife, Gabby Rodriguez-Katz. Dylan Hoffman, Andy Goldfarb, Dean Scott Vasquez as Mateo, Dylan Chloe Dash as Tara, Millie Thorpe as Nikki, Maya Ketch,
I think so,
as Kim Chang Cohen, Ivory Baker as Megan Levy, Ido Mosery as DJ Shmuley, Sarah Sherman as Rabbi Rebecca, Louise Guzman as Eli Katz.
Yeah, pretty good cast.
Yeah.
A lot of Sandlers in the mix, obviously. It was like, you know, it's fun that this was like a passion project for the family. It is a little silly that Jackie Sandler does not play the mom, just because the daughters look so much like their parents that it was like, well, I have some questions about your relationship with this neighbor. I get, like, for the marketing factor, you need to have Idina Menzel in a starring role.
Yeah.
But, like, she was also, like, top billing on IMDb and a bunch of promo and stuff. So that was probably part of her contract. But
Yeah. And she's definitely in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it needed to be Idina.
It could have been Jackie.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So the plot of this movie. Stop me whenever you want, if you do. Yeah. I think I got pretty much all the highlights of this one.
Yeah.
So, Stacey Friedman narrates how cultures all over the world have their own versions of ceremonies to celebrate a child becoming an adult. She talks about how important her bat mitzvah is, signifying how the rest of her adult life is going to go. We see Stacey entering a huge party, everyone cheering for her, and she shares a moment with her best friend Lydia. Then, the hottest boy in 7th grade, Andy Goldfarb, comes up and asks if he can kiss her to show everyone they're in a relationship. Stacey says yes, and before they kiss, she snaps out of her daydream by her mom yelling at her to get ready. The way that she phrases it in her dream thing is like, Andy is like, I want to signify to everyone the beginning of our relationship by a kiss.
Yeah.
Is that okay with you? And she's like, consent given, Andy Goldfarb.
Yeah.
It's very, very scripted and over
funny.
the top, but like, yeah, in a daydream way.
Yep.
We see Stacey and her family, her sister Ronnie, mom Bree, and dad Danny, all getting ready to leave the house for a bat mitzvah. They pick up Lydia on the way. The two friends are clearly close. At the party, Stacey hangs out with her other friends, Tara and Nikki, and they all talk about how hot Andy is. Stacey decides she's going to go talk to him, but she gets stopped at the last second by an exchange student, Mateo, saying hi. Stacey and her friends all walk by, kind of giving Mateo the stink eye for talking to them.
Mateo compliments her shoes.
Yeah.
Which was a whole thing. Because she was going to wear heels, but then didn't like them and put on Converse instead.
She wanted to wear heels because Lydia's mom got her and Lydia matching heels, and then she had a brief fight with her mom about wearing heels outside of the house, and then her mom was like, okay, you can wear them. You're going to hate them within 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And then she did. So then she brought a change of shoes for her and Lydia.
Yeah.
Because they're good friends and they want to match and everything.
And Mateo liked the Converse.
Yes.
So he was like, hey, Stacey, I like your shoes.
Yeah.
And then they were like, Mateo.
I can't believe he did that. So a boy, or wait, no, there we go. I skipped a line. Okay, there's a popular group of students, primarily led by Kim and Megan, who notice Lydia one day and invite her to hang out with them. Lydia brings Stacey, and they all go to The Ledge, which is a cliff near a quarry. Andy and the other boys in their grade show up. Stacey talks to him a little bit because he hit her in the head with a soccer ball earlier in the movie, but she's very awkward about it. And then Lydia seems to fit in a little easier with the group, and Stacey definitely notices.
I feel we have skipped an integral scene.
Did we?
They were in class with Sarah Sherman. And Sarah Sherman was teaching a lesson. And then it's about like the snake or whatever. Yeah. And she asks one of the little 7th grade boys, Aaron.
Yeah.
And she's like, Aaron, are you a snake?
Yeah.
And then Aaron is just like, no. And then she's like, no, I bet you are. You're a little snake, aren't you?
But you would cheat on your wife, wouldn't you?
And he was like, no, I would never do that. Yeah. And then she's like, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
She is very good in this movie. I did forget that's when she gets introduced.
Yep.
Yeah, and she's a big personality, and they don't make fun of her, but they do impressions of her.
Yeah.
And that's like an in joke within their group. So that boy Aaron, I think.
Aaron.
Yeah. They also he's kind of you can tell he's a little bit of a jerk, and everyone just keeps making fun of him for
the
it.
Punching bag.
Yeah, where they're just he'll say something a little mean, everyone's just like, "Shut up, Andy."
There was one moment that I think we're getting to
Mm-hmm.
where he didn't say anything, but then someone was like, "You're a real jerk, Aaron," and he was like, "What did I do?"
Yeah. So Aaron dares someone to jump into the water below, and Stacy decides to do it. Lydia keeps warning her not to, saying it's dangerous, but Stacy just focuses on the fact that Andy is watching. She jumps in, and she's fine. Everyone celebrates, and they're cheering her name, including Andy. But then Stacy's pad floats out of the water. She forgot she was on her period, and the boys all freak out. The girls are surprisingly cool about it, even the popular ones. And then Andy makes a Red Sea joke, and Lydia laughs, and Stacy feels betrayed.
Yeah.
So that's the part where the boys are all like, "Ew, period," and then the girls are like, "Shut up, Aaron, you couldn't even handle it."
Yeah.
Even though he's like, "I didn't say anything."
Yeah. No, I liked this moment because it's a Happy Madison film.
Mm-hmm.
And so someone's in water. They had already talked about her being on her period before.
It was like a parents are so embarrassing thing where she gets a FaceTime from Adam Sandler, and he's like, "Hey, your mom told me to get you extra large pads. I heard your flow is heavy." They made it a whole thing.
And so someone jumps in the water after talking about that Happy Madison film. You're like, oh no, what's going to happen? In the Grown Ups movie, they go in the pool and the water around them goes dark blue because they all pee themselves.
I haven't seen that movie, but I remember that scene from the trailer.
Yeah.
And definitely, where they're all like, isn't there that rumor that there's a chemical in the pool that tells you someone pees, and they all go, no, and then they all pee and you can see it. Yeah.
And so we're sitting there, she's in the water, we expect just a bunch of red to start appearing around her.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
It's just the one pad.
And instead it was just a bloody pad.
Mm-hmm.
And the boys laugh or whatever. They're a little grossed out.
Yeah.
Which is not unrealistic.
For 13-year-olds.
For 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
And then, even the popular girls who don't really like Stacy are just like,
what's the big deal?
What's the big deal?
It's natural.
I thought that was a good.
Yeah. Because, for as mean girl stereotype as those characters are, like Kim especially, everyone was on the same side about it.
Yeah.
And then, even Lydia laughing at the joke was just, Andy said something like, talk about the Red Sea, or I don't know, it was something dumb like that. And she's just like, huh.
Yeah.
That was it. It doesn't show her, changing sides or anything. But because Stacy notices from the water, then she's like, how could you? Stacy gets out of the water, and she fights with Lydia about not having her back. She also says her crush on Andy is officially over. Stacy goes home. She's not responding to Lydia's texts. She sees a TikTok that Andy made of they make the Red Sea dance.
Yeah.
It's very goofy. There was an article that I read where it's just someone going through beat by beat their thoughts on the movie. They were like, Andy Goldfarb, I will murder you. So the next day she feels bad. So Stacy goes over to Lydia's house to talk things over. When she gets there, she sees Lydia's having all the popular kids over at her house for a party, and Lydia's on the couch kissing Andy. Stacy freaks out. Lydia follows her outside, and Stacy won't let Lydia explain and instead says their friendship is over. She also says the title of the movie, "You are so not invited to my bat mitzvah."
I was expecting a title card.
Yeah.
Even though we were already 20 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, I think it's a little too far in for a full title card.
Yeah.
But the whole time that they were fighting, we were like, oh, this is when it's gonna happen. Yeah. At school, Stacy finds out that Lydia and Andy didn't just kiss, but now they're dating, so she feels even more betrayed. She tries talking to Nikki and Tara about it, but they feel betrayed that they weren't invited to the ledge, so they kind of ignore her a bit too. Stacy keeps getting annoyed by Andy and Lydia talking and giggling all the time, so she sends a rumor about Lydia to an anonymous Instagram account that posts rumors about the 7th grade class. The rumor that she says is like, Lydia has long nipple hairs or something, so then people keep asking her about it. Later on, it looks like she might apologize to Lydia in the cafeteria, but then Lydia just gets mad about the rumor and they don't talk. They just kind of bicker again. Throughout this whole thing, Stacy has also been preparing for her bat mitzvah. She still needs a mitzvah project where she gives back to the community. So she decides to volunteer at a retirement home. But she only decides to do this when she learns that Andy visits his grandma at the retirement home. So she runs into him while volunteering. And she learned all of this from Mateo, who she's kind of friendly with now.
A couple times now he's been like, oh, hey, Stacy.
Yeah.
He's
around.
He's around. He's a foreign exchange student from...
Ecuador,
I believe.
Yeah. And Andy is also forced to visit his grandma, or else he gets his Xbox taken away. Yeah. He doesn't do it out of the kindness of his heart. Andy has very few redeeming qualities as a 13-year-old boy. So Stacy also promised to make an intro video for Lydia's bat mitzvah, and she adds in embarrassing clips of Lydia. She watches the videos of them as little kids, and then she feels bad, and she decides not to send it. Stacy continues to try and get Andy's attention while he dates Lydia. She tells him Lydia lied about kissing other guys before, and she then accidentally sends him pictures she had Nikki and Tara help her take where she looks grown up, quote unquote. Andy is clearly interested in the attention. Yeah. It's a lot of like, it was a whole montage of her like taking a bunch of pictures. She's in a tight dress, trying to be like, this is how adults look. And he's also 13, so he's like, this is how adults look. Yeah. Stacy and Lydia run into each other while shopping for dresses. Their moms are excited to catch up, and the two girls have a much more serious talk off to the side. Lydia says Andy broke up with her. Stacy says that sucks for her. They walk away, and they're still fighting, but they're kind of hiding it from their parents at this point.
Also during this scene, Lydia's mom and dad are there, but mom and dad are separating.
Yeah.
And they kind of get into an argument where the mom is saying that the dad needs to be better and pay more attention, and she's like, Stacy's dad pays attention, and he's like, oh yeah, that dad? Mm-hmm. And it pans over to Adam Sandler sleeping on a bench in the store, and then he gets up when they leave, and he's like, oh, can we get ice cream? Did you already get ice cream?
Yeah. It's just very funny that in the Adam Sandler movie, his wife in real life is like, well, Adam's a great dad. Yeah. So, at school, Stacy and Andy get away from class together. He asks if she's kissed anyone before. She says no, and he asks if she wants to. She says yes, and they go to this one closet in the school that all the kids seem to know to hook up in, but it's occupied. So they find the next best place, which is hidden by the Torah in the temple. They kiss, and they get caught by Rabbi Rebecca. And she's just like, you guys are in so much trouble. Are you kidding me? Rabbi Rebecca talks to Stacy about taking her bat mitzvah seriously, saying she's in danger of having it canceled. She tells Stacy to work on an actual project instead of flirting with a boy at a retirement home. Stacy gets home, and her parents have been told what happened. Her dad is very mad, and they have a yelling match upstairs. This is like the only time we see him angry.
Yeah.
They're both good parents in this movie.
He seems less angry that she was kissing a boy and more angry that she was disrespecting Temple.
She's not taking her bat mitzvah process seriously.
Yeah, there's a line where she's like, I don't even care about that. Like,
I don't even want to be Jewish.
Like, it's just like the old people and God, I guess, who care.
Yeah. And
throughout the movie, she is talking to God too.
Yeah, that's a couple ways that they frame the narration. Like the one, I think at the very beginning, it's just her talking to the audience basically about the different cultures, and then most of the other times then it's her praying to God, and she's like, "Dear God, it's me, Stacey Feldman."
Yeah.
Or Friedman.
Friedman.
Yeah. She's like, "But you knew that." And then she keeps going, and she'll say other stuff, and then she'll be like, "But you knew that too."
Yeah.
So while they're fighting upstairs, Bree answers the door to Lydia's mom, Gabby. Gabby says that Stacey never sent Lydia's entrance video to her, and Bree says she'll email it to Gabby. She goes to Stacey's laptop, and she sends the video over.
It's the mean video.
It's the mean video. So it's like they're at the front door trying to have a regular conversation, and then also Gabby is like, "Oh, hey, Ronnie," and Ronnie's friend that's in the kitchen, and she's like, "Hi, how are you guys?" And they're trying to talk, but then they just like keep getting interrupted by the fight upstairs, and it's just a comedy, goofy. So Stacey works hard on learning her Torah portion, but she also keeps dating Andy and hanging out with the popular crowd. She narrates how she still feels like everything is chaotic and how she'd normally ask her friends for advice, but these don't feel like the kinds of friends she wants to ask. The only exception seems to be Mateo, who keeps showing how nice he is in small ways. He's not Jewish, but he's staying at Andy's house, I think, as part of his exchange.
Oh, okay.
I think that's how they phrased that relationship. So like he's just around Temple a lot. He's hanging out with the younger kids and like learning about being Jewish with kids that are like 4 basically, and just being nice to little kids and stuff. And she's like, Mateo's a good egg. So it's the day of Lydia's bat mitzvah. Stacey dreads going and takes a long time getting dressed. Her mom convinces her to go, saying like she'll regret it. It's the day that they've planned for a really long time together. Stacey and Lydia talk a little at the party, and it's a little uncomfortable, but they seem to be putting everything behind them. They're joking around and stuff. But then the entrance video plays in front of everyone, and Stacey tries to stop it once she realizes what's happening. But Lydia is crying. Stacey tries to explain, but Lydia says she's gone too far. Stacey cries. Her parents feel bad, but don't know what to do for her. Ronnie says she has to figure this out for herself.
And then there's a very funny moment where Ronnie's best friend, who's also just around, calls Adam Sandler and Idina Menzel's characters by their first name, and is like, you just have to like trust her that she's gonna do it. You're never gonna understand her from this point on.
Yeah.
And then the parents are like, don't ever call us by our first names again. And the older daughter's like, yeah, that was weird.
She kind of just says like 1 or 2 lines the whole time, and then this is like a whole monologue, and everyone just looks at her and they're like, that was weird. Don't do that. Her name in real life is Zara. Her character's name is Zara. This is her only credit on IMDb. I think she's just actually friends with the Sandler sisters, and that's why she's in this movie. So good for them. So Stacey is completely isolated at school now. Andy seems to have moved on to Kim, and Nikki and Tara are hanging out with Lydia again. She tries doing small things to spread kindness as part of her mitzvah project. She puts change in at parking meters and stuff like that. She's just kind of adrift and figuring stuff out. It's finally the day of Stacey's bat mitzvah, and she just refuses to get dressed. Her parents have to resort to carrying her, kicking and screaming to the car, and then pushing her into the temple to read the Torah. Stacey begins her portion, and she's doing well, but then she looks at the empty spots that were reserved for Lydia and her family. She starts crying, telling everyone that she made a huge mistake. She singles out some people in the crowd, thanking her family for sticking by her and telling Tara and Nikki how much she appreciates them. She says Kim and Megan have some good qualities, but they're also super mean, and she says Andy is the worst because he's the reason she has a huge fight with her best friend. Stacey tries to run out of the temple to make up with Lydia in like this huge dramatic moment, but then her dad stops her and makes her finish reading the Torah before leaving. She finishes, and then everyone cheers her on as she runs to Lydia's house. She arrives sweaty and out of breath, apologizing to Lydia. Lydia explains how she also liked Andy for a long time, but she never said anything, and then Stacey ruined her big day. She asked Lydia to come to her party that night, saying it'll be worth it. Stacy and her parents make some last-minute changes to the party, hoping Lydia will show up. She does, and Stacy opens the doors of the party to reveal Lydia's name in huge letters and everyone cheering for her instead. She gave up her dream party to make up for Lydia's. The two celebrate throughout the night, making up and becoming friends again. Stacy dances with Mateo, fulfilling her fantasy that she had at the beginning about having a great night with her best friend and then dancing with the boy. She narrates that adulthood isn't how she pictured it, but she's still off to a great start. And then there is a credits scene as Stacy and her friends run a bake sale for charity, fulfilling her project by giving back to the community.
Yep.
Yep.
And there was justice for Mateo.
Justice for Mateo.
He was the nicest little guy.
And that's the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, things that stuck out. It's kids playing their actual age. So, that was nice.
Yeah.
Felt pretty realistic. Performances are good. I'm not going to critique child actors or anything.
But I will. At the 30-minute mark.
Yeah. Yeah, they were good. Even besides the fact that, like, the Sandler kids got their roles because of their dad, then they were good in the roles that they were in.
Yeah.
You know. I feel like they grew up in a household that knows how to commit to the bit. So
yeah, like they definitely committed to the bit. I do think the younger daughter who was the lead was the weaker.
She had a lot of heavy lifting to do.
But yeah, she just had more to do, and I think we just saw more work from her.
Ronnie, I really couldn't figure out how to include her in the like recap because basically just like she's around the whole time.
Yeah.
She's just like comic relief older daughter who there are moments where there's like the sibling rivalry or like relationship stuff where they hate each other and then immediately they're like, do you want to go get food after this, or you know, that kind of stuff. There's a part where Stacy and Lydia are presenting a slideshow of like Stacy's perfect bat mitzvah, and it's stuff like she wants Dua Lipa and Olivia Rodrigo to show up and things like that. And then she leaves, and Adam Sandler's just like, man, she's growing up so fast. And Ronnie's like, I'm drinking now. I didn't like it. It's okay. We're good.
Yeah.
And then he just like sits there like shell shocked at his children.
Yeah, no, I thought the sibling dynamic, and probably because they're real siblings, was good. Like it wasn't a, oh, thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Like
it was very realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like for me, they were both recognizable and then unrecognizable middle school experiences. I felt like, or like there were things like, you know, things feel super dramatic and like the most important thing in your entire life. There are brief fights with your parents about what to wear and stuff like that. And then there were like Stacy, especially. It's like there are a couple girls that I was friends with in middle school where I'm like, I remember you. I went to your bat mitzvah. And then but then on the other side, the popular girl stereotype has never landed for me just because I never really grew up with that. So I don't know how true that actually is.
It felt right to me.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, at least in my school, there were like few different cliques of popular
There were cliques.
girls, but like, that felt, yeah.
I guess it's more just like the Mean Girls movie stereotype of like, this girl is popular and she sucks. I didn't grow up in an environment like that where it's just like if someone sucked, then they just like weren't popular. Like why I don't know, the social standing thing of like being associated with a sucky person. I don't know.
Yeah.
That never has worked out for me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's the pretty factor.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that it was a pretty good portrayal of at least how I remember feeling in middle school.
That's true.
And like Bo Burnham's 8th grade is another one that got it right. And despite this one being more of a, I don't want to say slapstick comedy because that's not the right word, but like a less real
Yeah.
comedy than 8th Grade was. Like it still felt like pretty on the nose in a way that I don't typically see with that age of movie. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There were a couple things. There were a thing of like when they were talking about the popular group where they were like, wow, they're so cool. They're so intimidating. I'm kind of afraid of them. Like that feeling. It's like, yeah, I get that. There are girls like that I remember from school. Yeah. And then like the social hierarchy thing within like Stacy's own friend group, I thought was interesting. Of just like, she kept saying like, I'm not a loser, but I'm not popular. So that's why the bat mitzvah party is so important to her. 'Cause she's like, I want to finally like have a defined place and everything. So
I mean, I definitely remember that element of like, I was not in the popular group, but I had friends.
Yeah.
I never felt like a loser.
Same.
Because I'm cool. But I definitely remember the like, I know other people, but other people don't know me.
Yeah.
So I got that. But it did seem like people knew her friend group. So it wasn't like...
Yeah. But then Andy didn't know, or I guess just like never noticed Lydia and Stacy.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't notice Stacy until he hit her in the head, which felt accurate.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
13-year-old, 12-year-old, because they were 7th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 12-year-old boys don't pay attention.
Oblivious.
Yeah. But not me.
You were on it.
I was on it. I recognized everybody. It's actually kind of true.
Yeah, you are very good with faces.
In middle school, I was like, okay. Hey. And then like I would be like, oh, hey, Tim. And they'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
I just know who you are.
You don't need to worry about it. I know you. You don't know me.
Yeah.
And that's how I like it.
I think a big part of the differences in our middle school experiences were the size of our schools. Because my grade was the biggest graduating class at the time. And that was with 40 people.
Yeah, I mean, we had a few hundred at least.
Yeah. One thing that felt a little awkward to me was it was weird that like they had the big movie moment of Stacy like coming to terms with the mistakes that she made and like owning up to it.
Yeah.
And like she's giving the speech, she interrupts her own Torah portion to like tell people or like to apologize to everyone. But then they put her narrating over her talking.
That was weird.
But then you could kind of hear what she was saying, and it just like, if you do something like that where you put narration over a big moment, then it feels like you didn't quite know how to write that. It's just like, and then people feel good, and we can tell the audience that people now feel good.
Yeah.
But because then they clearly had something written. It's like, well, then why didn't we hear Stacey say it instead of her telling us that she said it? That felt a little weird.
I'm curious if it was just like they didn't like the delivery enough or something that...
Or it felt too cheesy or it took too long or something. Because it did like...
It jumped around.
It did jump around a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Soundtrack was pretty good.
Yeah, it was an impressive soundtrack. Yeah. It was a solid movie. I think it's probably good for kids that age.
Yeah.
I like it in the same way that I like Degrassi, in that it doesn't like, I don't know, it doesn't feel wildly fictional for middle school or young people, and it wasn't afraid to acknowledge that kids those age know everything.
Yeah.
And talk about everything.
Yeah.
And
I feel like they got like plots like this where it's just like movie hijinks happen feel really unrealistic, but like this didn't feel, the stuff that felt unrealistic was just like you just wanted Stacy to stop like spreading the rumors and doing stuff like that, but none of it felt ungrounded or anything. And I feel like the details of how they dressed and how they talked to each other and everything made it like they got just enough right to keep everything feeling cohesive and like it didn't feel like Glee or anything where you're just like, God, get these 20-year-olds out of here.
Sarah Sherman was the best part.
Yeah, she was great.
It was filmed kind of weird. Like, some of it looked nice.
Mm-hmm.
Other parts were rushed. And then there was, like, some, like, zoom-in moments. Like, they, like, I don't know, like, zoomed in on a character. I don't know. Some of the framing I just didn't love.
Yeah.
But
there is one shot of Stacy, at a party, and there's like confetti falling from the ceiling and everything, and she's just like sitting, like head in her hands, like looking off.
Yeah.
And that's like a really good shot. And then there's a bunch of stuff where it's just like, it's a comedy. You got to just get the characters in the frame.
I don't remember what I was going to say. It's definitely John Hughes inspired.
Yeah.
And they even have a little moment where they're at the movie theaters watching like a John Hughes, like, not festival, but
they're
showing a bunch of John Hughes movies.
Yeah, we don't really learn anything about Stacy and Ronnie's parents, except for the fact that Adam Sandler's character like loves movies, and like he goes to the movie theater pretty frequently, and one of the times that he's there, then it's the John Hughes marathon. Yeah. DJ Shmuley.
DJ Shmuley was a weird character.
Yeah. It made me think of Somewhere in Queens, because there's that other DJ character that's just like, there are parties that this community has pretty frequently, and this is the go-to guy that you get for them.
Yeah.
They say a couple of different times, like, oh man, DJ Shmuley's the best. Like, no one does it like him. And then Adam Sandler's like, is he the best, or is he just here? We thought they were going to do a Rule of Threes car crash thing with him.
He got into 2 car crashes.
Yeah.
With his dumb little purple Kia Soul.
It felt like they had stuff that they cut from his character, because like you saw him, or like we saw him get ready for a party, and like it was after his second car crash or something, and he's just like trying to get in the zone, and then you find out that like he also wears a hairpiece and stuff, so he's just like bald. I don't know, he's like a guy who takes his DJ performance so seriously, and it just like we learned more about him than we did about the parents.
Yeah. I do think Rob Schneider would have played this character 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This movie would be very differently. 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah.
Whatever. I remember what I was going to say. I think it was too long.
Oh, yeah.
The beginning was real slow to me.
It felt like they needed a setup of like, if you have never heard of a bar or bat mitzvah before, then like, here's what you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought there was a little too much at the beginning.
That's
before
fair.
It got into like what it was about.
It did spend a long time like introducing the dynamics of the family, because like Stacy is daydreaming while getting ready. Ronnie is like around saying like, Mom's never going to let you wear those shoes. And then Danny is messing with Bree because he doesn't want to go to this party. It did take a little while to get into. I did like the recurring thing of seeing Stacy like get less and less willing to leave the house with the like getting dressed in her room scenes. So, yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
Not right now.
All right. So production facts. This movie was released August 25th, 2023 by Netflix. It's got an hour, 43-minute runtime, and it's rated PG-13. Do you feel like closer to that hour and a half would have been better?
Yeah. I know it's only 13 minutes, but that kind of does feel about...
I mean, 13 minutes is a short film, so it's not an insignificant amount of time. So it's currently rated at 91% tomato meter with a 60% popcorn meter. It had a 71 out of 100 on Metacritic and a 5.9 out of 10 on IMDb. It debuted on Rotten Tomatoes at 95%, making it Sandler's highest rated movie.
Wild.
Yeah. At least by Rotten Tomatoes. It's his highest rated from them. The critic consensus is a coming-of-age comedy that sidesteps simple nostalgia. You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah finds fresh humor in adolescent anxiety and suggests a bright future for star Sonny Sandler. The audience consensus was cute but predictable. So, yeah.
Is it a better score than Punch Drunk Love or
Uncut Gems?
Or Uncut Gems?
Yeah. People loved it, or critics loved it. I think it was like 95% critics and then 65% audience.
Yeah.
And then those have both gone down just a little bit, but the divide is pretty much the same. The reception of the movie didn't really have any nepotism accusations. Instead, everything was framing it as a family passion project.
And I do kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, most likely, if the kids enjoyed it, they'll keep doing it.
I feel like I found the balance of, like, if you have a star and then, like, their kid is in some key position, then people are going to say nepotism. But if you overload it and you're producing it, starring it, your wife is in it, both of your kids are starring in it, then it just tips the scales and people are like, aw.
Family's doing a project. Which
this helps.
Is okay.
Yeah.
Like,
it helps that this is like a very, I don't know, it's a very specific niche. Adam Sandler is like, he makes being Jewish like such a huge part of his identity that it makes sense for him to be so heavily involved and have his family so heavily involved with this. Yeah. So the estimated budget of this movie that I saw was $27 million. That feels right.
It feels high, but
Yeah.
with the stars in it, then yeah.
And then it did not have any theatrical release, so the streaming numbers, it had 37.9 million total views and 21.9 million views in its first week on Netflix, making it number one by a large margin. It's like one of their most successful rollouts ever. People watched this movie and liked it. So, again, financials with Netflix, goofy, but, you know, Happy Madison got a good deal out of it. So the production timeline, in 2022, Netflix announced the adaptation of the 2005 young adult novel You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah by Fiona Rosenblum. She has a like co-written by credit or something for this movie. It was also announced that it would be adapted by screenwriter Allison Peck and directed by Sammy Cohen, and then starring Adam Sandler. He's also producer on this movie. And then from June 29th through August 11th, 2022, principal photography took place in Toronto, Canada. And then July 2022, the rest of the cast, including Idina Menzel and the Sandler family, were revealed to be part of the film. It has a couple of awards. It's the 2024 Best Family Film Television winner from the Family Film Awards, 2024 Favorite Movie Actor nominee for Adam Sandler from the Kids' Choice Awards, and the 2024 Comedy Movie Star of the Year nominee, also for Adam Sandler, from the People's Choice Awards. And then it has the 2024 Reframe Stamp Award, which is given to features and scripted TV shows who hire women, non-binary, and/or gender non-conforming people in key roles across production. Sammy Cohen is trans, and there were various women that were also in key roles throughout this movie. And then many of the other movies we've covered also have this award, like Barbie, The Marvels, Elemental, Past Lives, Cocaine Bear, and a lot of others that we will cover at some point. Yeah, I don't know if there's like a certain percentage or like a certain divide, if it's like 50-50 or if it is more of like how many people you have above the line in like producer, director, those kind of roles. I didn't fully look into like their criteria for it, but you know, good for them. So there's allegedly a tagline for this movie that says something about friendship, family, and finding your place. I can't find an actual tagline listed, but it was mentioned in an interview with Sammy Cohen and Screen Rant. So I don't know. I'm kind of surprised that this movie doesn't have a tagline, even if it's something like in the trailer of growing up is no party. I don't know. I'm always surprised when comedies don't have a tagline.
Yeah.
I just feel like that genre makes more sense of just like another opportunity to make a joke to help you get an understanding of like what type of humor is it. But what do I know? We've never done a tagline. So this is directed by Sammy Cohen. They're known for Crush, which is a 2022 Hulu movie. And then they also directed and produced content for Dropout, which we are big fans of. They got their directing start in comedy specials and recordings, and then became attached to this project because Sandler was looking for a young Jewish director, and then they joined after the Sandler daughters were cast and a lot of other like key roles were filled. So I think it was just like the hunt for the right person, basically. And then they describe working with Sandler as very collaborative, and it felt very fun, like making movies in high school with your friends. And then they were also very collaborative with the Sandler kids, checking in with them on what kids are actually wearing and saying. They said, like, not just with the Sandler kids, but with the cast in general, they kind of, like, let them lead in terms of, like, what's cool? What do people actually say?
Yeah.
And, like, react in situations. So I feel like that's a big element of why this movie feels so realistic. It definitely feels of its time in a way that I'm like, in 5 years, will this be incomprehensible? But like, not so much in the way that I felt in other movies that we've watched. And I think that's because it's been adults being like, it's lit, and it doesn't quite land.
I think it'll work because it's not like, even just when we were in middle school, like TikTok wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
But Vine, Snapchat.
Yeah.
Like, people were still on social media doing silly dances, being goofy with social media. So, like, I don't think that's ever going to age out.
Yeah.
And then going back and watching John Hughes films, it's not like I feel like they don't come across as super dated, even though, like, it just feels like a different time. And, like, it's still like, I can understand what they're doing.
This also feels like with John Hughes movies, it is like the rumor mill is definitely like a word of mouth thing, and they kind of have an element of that, but then also having like the Instagram page that's dedicated to stuff like that, I thought was like,
my schools had that. I don't know if yours did.
No.
Oh yeah, no, people made that and it sucked. And then there was that app, it was like Yik Yak or something.
Oh yeah.
And that was like a whole like an anonymous app that you could like sign up for your school specifically, and it was like, this is weird.
I do remember Yik Yak. I wasn't on it, but it was definitely a thing that
people made those accounts. So like that, even though it's been over 10 years now that I've been in middle school, that felt so real.
That's fair. Sammy Cohen is also big on world building. They said they had a lot of improv sessions with the kids so they could get to know each other and feel established in like who their characters were, since they've all supposed to have known each other for so long. Yeah. So there's a lot of bonding between the kids and stuff.
I could tell that like the direction for this film was very cohesive, and I think Sammy did a great job.
Yeah.
Directing wise, great. Some of the cinematography, I was like,
That's fair. They said that Crush felt like a good step in their career to like make something for queer kids, and then this felt something that they wanted to make for Jewish kids, and like they're trying to make the movies that they wanted to watch when they were growing up, basically. And I feel like the filmography shows that.
I also really appreciate Adam Sandler specifically trying to find a young director who doesn't have much work, but like, had enough to be like, no, this person can do it. Like that's what people need to be doing more, rather than being like, oh, Scorsese again.
It seems like this is the exception to nepotism, because it feels like everyone who was involved in this project is like very closely tied to it or like feels very passionate about it.
Yeah.
With like the Sandlers being involved, feel like they would have been cast anyway if someone else was in charge of this.
Yeah.
And then Sammy Cohen being involved also feels like if you were headhunting for that person who could like is younger, up and coming, can relate to the content and stuff, then feels like you would have headhunted this person anyway. So yeah, very cool. So the adaptation is by Alison Peck. This is her third feature listed on IMDb. Other works listed are 2020's Work It Out and 2019's Ugly Dolls. Just thought it was a fun group of movies to work on. And then this was produced by Happy Madison and Alloy Entertainment. In our last episode, it's been a little while since it's come out by the time you're hearing this, but we previously talked about Happy Madison because they produced The Outlaws. It was founded by Adam Sandler in 1999. They have a distribution deal with Netflix. They've had that since 2016. He is the head of Happy Madison, but then Happy Madison Incorporated is like their parent company, and his brother runs that. He's heavily involved in, this movie specifically, but then the other movies that he produces. Then Sammy Cohen described him as like a coach of like, he's very good at like pushing people like to go farther, but then also knows like when to step back and when to step in and stuff like that. So he seems like a good mentor in the comedy world, especially. And then Alloy Entertainment was founded in 1997. They are a book packaging and TV production unit of Warner Brothers. So previous franchises that they've produced and been involved with, both on the book side and on the TV side, are The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, Vampire Diaries, Gossip Girl, Pretty Little Liars, and The 100. A very CW vibe with a lot of their stuff. Yeah, I know when we watched this, you mentioned that you were curious about like how Happy Madison got involved, if how Adam Sandler was approached or something. I feel like Alloy like had the book rights and then shopped it to Happy Madison, and it just like was a good fit. And then also it helps Happy Madison that they have that Netflix deal. Yeah. So pretty simple distribution and everything. Yeah. So as far as I can tell, everything was pretty straightforward. I don't know when development started. I just know that there's that one article that was going like beat by beat for what the person was thinking. It was like a Vogue writer or something, and they had said like, I loved this book growing up. I've always wanted someone to adapt it. Had heard nothing about it until like the day the movie released, and then she was like, this is the best thing. So I don't know, I couldn't find much about that. And then Sunny Sandler had her own bat mitzvah right before filming began. And then Sammy Cohen attended and said that making the movie after that felt like a pretty natural progression, which makes sense. And then production also attended several bar and bat mitzvahs to make sure they were showing something that felt relevant to kids today. Because like a lot of people, obviously they're Jewish, they've grown up going to these parties and stuff, but they still wanted to make things that felt like it wasn't a dated reference or something. Sammy said that like a lot of the music is like, it's exactly the same because like they played the cha-cha slide and stuff like that in the scenes. But then there's a lot of new stuff too. So they wanted it to feel like it was all approachable and stuff for kids. So,
which make the one kid, Aaron, who was the punching bag. Yeah. He asked the DJ at one of the mitzvahs to play Don't Stop Believing. Yeah. And then the DJ's like, deep cut.
I love that song.
No, I'm not playing that. And then at another mitzvah, the DJ was like, all right, now we're going to play Don't Stop Believing. And Aaron was like, yeah. And he was the only one. Yeah. And then the DJ was like, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to mess with the nerd. Like, that was basically all it was. Yeah. But if they went to mitzvahs, I'm guessing there was one kid who just like kept asking for an older song.
I mean, that is a goofy middle school experience that I do relate with. Is we had a DJ who was like always at our middle school dances. I forget I think it was the YMCA or something. But one time he was like, "You're the only school that requests this." I went to a school of nerds.
Yeah.
It's just a very funny thing for a DJ to yell out. It's like, your music opinions are wrong.
We had one middle school dance where they let a middle school band.
Oh.
Like these guys made a band in middle school and they let them play for like 15 minutes. And it was the worst 15 minutes of a middle school dance that I had been to, because even at 12 and 13, I was like, oh, God, they're really bad. Most other kids were like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, I don't know if he attended, but I just think the mental image is really funny of like Adam Sandler and a bunch of adults showing up at your bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Do you like my theme for your research? Very funny. Anything else before our rating?
I think it's good to move on to our rating.
Let's do that.
We rate movies out of 4 with 5 options. 0 out of 4 is, oh, no. My bat mitzvah has been ruined. 1 is, it was a movie. 2 is well made or enjoyable. 3, enjoyable and technically good. 4, Oscar worthy. I gave it a 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is well made and enjoyable, but not enough to me for it to be
for a 3.
For a 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I feel about the same. I think it's rewatchable, and I think it's like very. It is like a family movie where like adults and kids will be entertained watching it together. That was even like the Screen Rant interview that I watched with Sammy Cohen. Then like the interviewer even said that, where he's like, my daughter is 8 and I'm really excited to watch this movie with her. So for that target audience, feels pretty solid. Yeah, it's just, there are a few small technical things and stuff that.
And I do think because we're not the target, it's not going to be as high for us. Like, I think if I was younger, I would have been into it more.
This is
if I had a kid. This
is in a specific genre in my head, which is really good middle school sleepover movies.
That's fair.
This is in that.
Yeah.
So is Crazy Stupid Love.
Well, we like to talk about other movies that we've watched recently.
Mm-hmm.
We watched Mickey 17.
We did.
Came out recently. We're actually watching new movies.
Kind of. Yeah, we've seen 2 new movies.
We've seen 2 new movies.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, good for us.
I know.
Yeah, really liked it.
Yeah, Mickey 17 was good.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a fun one to see in theaters.
Yeah.
I thought that the scope went too big.
I didn't.
You didn't?
Yeah.
Sean,
friend
of the channel.
Friend of the pod.
He could see what I
gotcha
by that. But he also liked the movie. And it's just a fun, goofy sci-fi.
Robert Pattinson is great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very, very good casting. Where like I feel like you don't often get to see, for any actor, you don't often get to see like their range in one movie. It's just kind of like you saw like, because of the way that the characters are, then you see him being like extreme sides of himself, and that's always fun.
Yeah.
So
that was good. Follow us on places like we said at the beginning. Our next episode is going to be about the movie The Pod Generation, which you can watch on Hulu. But you can leave questions and comments for us on this video or any of our other videos, and we will respond on our VHS podcast. But for now, we will see you next time.
Goodbye.